What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to Impactful Living Podcast.
Where it's all about impacting the masses.
All right, well, happy Wednesday. Today we are going to be discussing cultural differences. Is love enough?
Is love really enough?
Love really enough when you have such diversity going on in your relationship? Can you withstand everything that's being thrown at you?
Well, the difference is if you allow that diversity in your relationship.
Yeah. And if you do, what are your boundaries? What are you doing? What are you willing to sacrifice or compromise? The word would be in that relationship.
Yeah, because if you really think about it, right? When you want,
Can I say something? Let me just start off letting you guys know we have some cultural differences in our relationship, a tad bit, but nothing that is so major to make us feel like we could not continue on with our relationship or marriage.
um, yeah, and that's why. Well, that's part of it, right? Because I feel like with me, I couldn't be with somebody that's, I'm gonna say, unfortunately, like just straight American. It's
It sounds bad, right?
it sounds bad,
But that
right?
was your preference.
It sounds bad, but I have, hey, just like y'all ladies have y'all criteria, men with
Standards.
muscles and all kind of stuff. Mine was just simple, right? I just didn't want to have a straight up like just. I want somebody with some kind of island background.
Wow.
Right?
With some substance. Let me
Yeah,
stop.
with some substance, right? We can understand. Well, see, that can understand what's going on or what I would like, or because I didn't want to deal with anything like food related and stuff like that, because I'm a type of person, I love to cook, so I want to make sure that whoever I'm getting, they don't look at me and talk about my food is nasty, right?
You're right. I feel you. Food is that's one of the cultural differences is the type of foods that we eat. Now, the good thing is that I did eat something, I eat similar to you. Yes, I am born here, but I have an island background. So it makes a little bit of a difference, but that is huge for me as well too because we eat all types of food and food is a way of how we show love. And when we come into the kitchen, that's where we gather. That's where we have parties. And when I tell you, my family, if anybody know Trinis, we like to throw parties for everything. So I needed somebody that was going to be able to fit in that mix and eat the types of food with me. And it worked very well.
Shit, you almost didn't work. Remember you talk about, oh, I don't eat curry goat. I don't eat
Listen,
curry
when
goat.
first of all, I grew up in an island household, but don't get it twisted. My grandmother, she did not allow nobody to cook no curry goat, no none of that in her pot. You could not cook it. So there was something that I just did not grow up eating. So when I met him, I'm like, listen, I can't eat that. Mind you, y'all, I lied to him. I told him, I said, I'm allergic to that. He sat there, fed me the food to see if I was allergic, if something was going to happen. Now, if I truly was allergic and damn near went to the hospital to die,
Just
what would he have said?
Get an EpiPen or some shit, rush you to the hospital. But she's like, oh, I'm allergic to curry goat.
I just wanted to see what he would say.
I'm like, yo, all right, no problem. I said, no problem. You know what? I'm gonna cook some curry turkey. Curry turkey tastes like curry goat, which
Lies.
Which when you cook curry, when you cook turkey, when you cut it up, it kind of look like goat when you cook it up.
I couldn't tell the difference.
She couldn't tell,
At that
but
time.
but a person that actually know, they will know, right? So when she first, like, I'm like, all right, here's your food, and I'm watching just to see what's gonna happen, and she started licking that shit down. I'm like, okay, I'm looking for her to start
Watching.
choking. Looking, nothing happened. Nothing happened. Okay, man, this is good. Okay. So
But-
you ain't allergic to no damn goat.
Listen, I just didn't want to eat that, and I was trying to be nice, and that's just one of the things. But I wasn't willing.
Hey, now hold on. I'm not telling y'all. If you meet somebody, they tell you they're allergic to something, you go ahead and you give them the damn food anyway, just to see if they don't drop dead. Like I kind of knew because she ate other stuff that's from the island background. So I'm like, yo, you eat all that stuff, and then you're gonna tell me that you don't eat curry goat, or your grandmother don't allow people to cook in her pot. But I did.
Yeah.
She made an exception with me.
No, but outside of that, there are some other cultural differences. Like, I have people in my family that we're very diverse in my family. If anybody knows my family, we are one melting pot, mix up, okay? And there was a time, like, even my brother, who had to step outside of his culture and eat different types of food to satisfy the girl that he is with.
Yeah.
Now, is that the right thing to do? Like, should you?
I mean, so see, when it comes to food, like I'm more mature now,
Yeah,
so
so
it's
you're
like
older.
I'll try stuff, right? Because it's like you go to it's like when we went to Jamaica the other day, right? It's like if I go to Jamaica and I'm going to Burger King, what the hell is that? Why would I go to
Yeah.
Burger King when there's Burger King here? Why not try to go to a corner store or something to eat authentic food, right? Even though we did go to KFC, and if you go to Jamaica, you have to go to
It's
KFC,
different than here,
right?
y'all. I promise you.
KFC ain't nothing like it is here. Is way better. But I'm just throwing that out there because But anyway, it's like now it's a little bit more different because now people are more open to food. But I ain't open to, like, when your brother talk about eating goat balls and shit. I'm just. I'm just I'm just not in I'm not
So listen,
I'm not in certain things, but that's one thing that came up, and it's like, yo, you have to say, all right, is either you like it or you don't. And it not necessarily mean that because they cook certain things that you'd be like, yo, I'm not gonna be with that person. It's just it's what
but I
they
think that's important to say, what? It's not to say that you tried it, right? You showed the family that you stop, that you tried something in their culture. So it makes them feel some kind of way. So if it's just like you bringing someone home and I look at the food and I'm like, no, I don't want this. And I didn't even try it. Like, I feel like that helps just a little bit.
Yeah,
At
it
least if you're
does.
willing to try. You don't have to like it,
You
but
don't
if
have to
you're willing
like,
to
but if
try.
you're willing to try it.
Exactly.
Real talk, real talk, real
So
talk.
another part about cultural differences is religion, and that is a huge part. I just think that we don't really talk about this a lot, I should say, is because we're so infatuated when you first get with somebody on how they look, right? And we need to look past that. We're at a certain age. I guess when you're young, you can date, you can do whatever, you don't really care. But when you start getting up in age and you're trying to find someone, these are just important questions to ask. And even if you are young, still ask these questions from now, because your religion matters. If you're a believer, right? There's so many different types of religions going on, and you have to figure out, is it worth me going down this path? Because if this person doesn't believe in God at all, but you do, and you want to continue, how is that going to work in your marriage? How is that going to work when raising kids? How is that just going to work? What is your plan for that?
I feel like that's a little bit more easier, to be honest.
Really?
I think it's a little bit more like there's still there's a conflict, right? The
Yes.
conflict is one don't believe in God and one believe in God.
Okay.
Right? So the one that don't believe in God might come to God at some point in his life or her life, right? So I think that is not as bad. Mm-hmm. What I see nowadays is like, it's not nowadays, it's just period. It's been happening and I never understand it. You grow up believing in a God, right? Mm-hmm. You grow up believing in a God, and because you meet someone, whether it's a man or a woman, right? You meet someone and they look pretty and you just like them and you don't want to disrupt nothing or don't make them feel bad. You throw away your God to go believe in another God.
Ooh.
Right? So
now,
that's something.
That's deep.
That's something I could never understand. Because now if you say you believe in God, right? Why would you now turn away from your God to go please man?
Yeah. Because you want to be with this person so bad that you're willing to compromise your beliefs, you're willing to compromise your religion.
So now that part is like I've always looked at as like, yo, that's a boundary. Like there's certain boundaries. There's no compromise in that.
So love is not at the top for that. So you wouldn't say love is enough for that one.
For me, no, because it's like that's telling people that I'm willing to go love anybody and throw away my God.
Yeah.
right? So that means that, yo, if they want to come to me in business, I can throw that away if somebody come to me with a different business, a more
Mhm.
enticing business, right? So it's like I'm not that person. I want somebody that believe in have the same belief that I have, right? I can't. That's why I said like it's a tough thing, right? Because
Mhm.
if somebody grow up believing in, say for instance, Buddha, right, and then somebody now you meet somebody that's Christian, then that's two separate things.
Yeah.
So how you're gonna teach your kids,
That
right?
part.
Those things are what you really and truly have to look at and be like, yo, where do you draw the line? Like if you believe in God, like you believe in your God. I don't I'm not gonna get into what you want to believe or what you should believe, but if you believe in your God, right, and you grow up believing that strongly, you pray every day, you do every day, you fast, you do all this stuff, and you asking God to bring somebody in your life. Why
Mhm.
would God bring somebody outside of His religion to you for Him to give up believing in Him for somebody else?
Ooh.
That don't make no sense to me.
Yeah. So love is not enough all the time, guys. That's exactly what we're trying to say. Sometimes love is just not enough. You need more,
And everybody has an opinion,
right?
right?
But we
That's
do have some
that's
comments.
my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
Bobby says, I love the podcast. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys. Make sure you head over to YouTube and you're subscribing, and especially if you want to leave a comment, right? We do have somebody that said, I just what I needed to hear. My grown kids are in cultural different relationship. One is about to be married. This is good stuff.
Yeah, especially like, and that's the crazy thing too, right? Because our next thing that we're gonna go into is raising kids,
It is raising kids.
right? And
That's where you bump heads,
like
I
like
feel
that
like the
that
most.
that's where the blood pressure start like rising, right? If you don't have a strong mindset as far as God, and if you don't like, there's certain things that kind of held us together, but one of the biggest things for us in the beginning was our son. Like
Raising our son.
because we have two different views on raising our son,
And we're talking
right?
about not just raising him to be a respectable young man. We're talking about in regards to discipline and things of that nature. Because there are some cultures where, listen, I have people in my family that grew up with discipline and now they are with somebody who does not believe in discipline. So, how do you sit down and watch your kid become a rug rat running around and have no kind of training? How do you do that? How do you mix that?
That's why I don't compromise. like
Because
like so that's things like
but you can incorporate. Now I don't say that breaks everything,
it
but
doesn't.
it requires you to sit down and have a conversation about certain things, because one thing that I did, because I know how y'all Jamaicans be, right? And I told my
Just
husband,
labeling us like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yes, I said it. I said it. I said I know how y'all Jamaicans
All
be.
right, cool.
But
Oh, I would be. Tell
no,
them,
but
tell them.
seriously, I sat down and I told you there's certain things that if you are going to discipline, this is what you can and can't. And we made an agreement on that. Like, okay, we're gonna discipline our kid because we don't want nobody out here saying, dang, look at Chrissy kids, they out here having no behavior and nobody wants to watch your kids because your kids is bad. No. So we decided that we're going to sit down and we're going to compromise. We're going to talk about what is discipline for me, what was discipline for you, and how are we going to do this for our household to make this work? Because again, we come from two different worlds. Even though I have an island background, still I wasn't born and raised there. So the way you were raised is completely different than the
Completely
way
different.
my parents raised me. My parents
Completely
moved
different.
here. They're from the
They,
islands, but they're Americanized.
your parents was me moving here, so now I'm experiencing what your parents did with you with my kids, but
Exactly.
but a little bit, so but the thing is, when it comes to discipline, is like, yo, because I feel like, because of the discipline that I got when I was younger, when you're in that stage, you're saying, I will never do this to my kids, or I will never discipline them this type of way. But when you look back at it,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yo, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be the person that I am today.
And I wouldn't love you today the way I do, because obviously those made a factor in growing you up to be the man that you are today. So I agree.
Now, for some people, it could be the opposite, right? But people react and take things in different.
Yeah.
I try to see as I get older. I try to see the good part of things and stuff, and not hold on to the negative parts.
Yeah. And we're not
right?
talking about like, a lot. It's communication as well. When we talk about discipline and all of that different stuff, it's all aspect of raising your kids just to be good individuals.
Yeah, and when we was talking about religion earlier, it's like, you know, I the good thing is I did not have trouble with that, right?
No.
As far as with both of us, we have similar beliefs. When I first met you, you wasn't even going to church.
Oh, stop it. Y'all, let me tell y'all how he lying.
Hold
on.
You barely was going to church. You barely was
no,
going to church.
No,
but you just thought you believe anything, you know?
Let me tell y'all something right now. That's one thing he's not going to come on here and lie about, because I can bring all my besties to come up here and tell y'all the truth. First of all, I've always believed, right? Now, before I met him, I went through some rough patches. Now, propelled my relationship with God a little bit stronger at that particular time. But let me tell y'all something. Why he was even selected. Okay? Selected.
Why I was sick.
Okay, because I had options. But let me tell him why he was selected is because I brought him to church with me. I didn't want another relationship where a man did not want to go to church. I didn't want another relationship where I have to beg and plead someone to believe in God. First of all. So I took him to church. Little backstory. I took him to church with me, and I was heavy into church. This is in my Tampa days. And so we always going to church, and my pastor said, bring him to church. That's exactly what he said. Bring him to church, and that's it, and leave the rest to me. So I bring him to church, and he's preaching or whatnot, and I go up there, and he was like, you know what? Where is he? I said, he's up there in the stands. He said, okay, that's a great sign. He said, you know what happens when you walk backwards? I said, no, what? He said, you run into a wall. So don't ever go backward. You see that man up there? He's coming to church with you. He believes in God. You keep going with him. And that is why you were selected. So I had to drop that because I don't want him to feel like I wasn't. I was already in my walk. And it made it easy because you were willing to come to church with me, and we had similar backgrounds and we believed. So that's that.
Okay. Speechless at the moment.
But yes, because my pastor told me, don't look back, keep moving forward. And you came to church with me. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to rock with this one.
Okay.
Yes. So that's how you got selected.
Yeah. But like I said, it was a lot easier for us to raise our kids that way, because we don't have to worry about, all right, yo, I don't want my kids to pray to somebody that I don't believe in, right? Yeah. I don't want to have to deal with that.
You don't have to fight.
I don't have to fight. I don't have to say, yo, you're a 7-day Adventist and I'm going to church. You go to church on Saturday and I'm going to church on Sunday. I can't do this. I can't do that. Like, I don't have to go through those stuff. Yeah. Right? So for me, it's like a lot of times we're saying, yo, go, like, you have to when you first meet someone, I feel like, yo, there's certain things, if you don't see that up front, why waste your time? If you're just looking to kick it, then kick it, but stop catching damn feelings for these people. Yep.
Know your place.
Right? Just exactly. Know your place, know the person place, and know that, yo, this is not marriage type, but yo, I'm lonely right now and I just need to kick it.
And I don't even think you should even do that. You shouldn't even be wasting your time on people. If you just want to kick it, people develop feelings, and you don't want to develop feelings for someone that you can't go any further with. You need to have a criteria. I truly believe that you need to have a criteria of what you want in a person. Now, not everything is going to be hit, but the big major things like religion and raising kids and things of that nature, yes. Does this person even want children? All of that really matters when you're getting ready for that next step in your life. But a big one to me is family, right? Sometimes man or woman, they want the person, but they don't want the family. And I think that's a big difference because it's a cultural difference. They don't understand. They're quiet. They timid. They sit in a corner. They don't say anything. Well, how do you expect to mingle with the family? Like, I just don't understand how these, I'll say, women want to be with a man but don't want to accept his family. And I don't understand that, because I
or
cannot
man,
be
or
with
man,
you. Yeah, or vice
because I
versa.
know your peoples was eyeing me. I
No,
know
my
the. Yo,
no.
hey, we ain't going there, right? But if you, we gonna go there. All right. So when we first met, right,
Yes.
I already knew
But
there
it's not
was.
cultural differences.
It's
So you
it's
can't say that.
it's not cultural differences,
That's what this topic is
but
about.
no, it kind of is, because the thing is, yo, they looking for if you can mesh with the family,
Okay.
right? It's if you can mesh with the family, if you can hold up, if you could conversate, or are you just gonna, sit in the corner, not be
You know
anything
you
because you
were the
feel.
quiet type, and you are still the quiet one.
Nah. It just depends on who and what. But when we having fun, and they passing juice and stuff like that, and.
What? What? What is he even talking about right
I
now, you guys?
I don't want to say certain things, but people will understand. But when
Dropping gems right now.
when
Thank you guys.
we're having fun, like everybody's having fun. We're like, tell me one time where I used to sit in a corner at a party or something. I never
No,
did that.
no.
Right? I always used to talk to your grandma, Mister still. Right? I used to always get along with everybody.
Yeah, I
Now,
took him to Trinidad the first time he went to Trinidad, and
man,
my family fell
I'm
in
more
love with
I'm more
him.
Trinity to the bone than her.
Okay.
Like yo, we go
We
to
just switched.
Trinidad.
Listen, we swapped cultures. I became more Jamaican. He became more Trini.
Yeah. Cause she started saying some Jamaican stuff to me. I'd be like, yo, where you get that from?
I could
but
talk it.
but that's the thing that I love, right? I love that we can do that, and that's why it's very important that you can mesh with a person, and that cultural difference is not a huge gap to where you feel like you're giving up
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Because when you feel like you're giving up something and you're not getting something back, then there's gonna be some kind of resentment.
It is,
There-
because you're losing yourself in the midst of that, right? You're losing yourself. You're so used to, let's say you have a family like mine, where we party, fet, whatever you want to call it, for everything,
Yeah, we
right?
used to party every
And
weekend.
all the time.
Every weekend, over our house, or your
Yeah,
grandmother
every
house, or your
weekend.
mom house.
Doesn't
Every
matter.
weekend there was a
Listen,
gathering
even my
somewhere.
dad used to come back and tell me, man, your mom's family, listen, they party for everything. It don't even matter. It could be Easter,
Every
birthday.
weekend.
It doesn't we make up a holiday if we had to. So the thing is about losing yourself is that I grew up in that culture. So if I go over and my husband doesn't like my family, he doesn't mesh, and now I'm no longer able to go visit my family, I'm not gonna lose myself for that.
Yeah.
That's what I said. You have to know, like, do you mesh? Some people don't care about the family dynamics because they said, I don't care about your family because we have our own family, right? A little selfish, but however, we have our own
Yeah, that
family,
that
our
that
own culture, we make up our own stuff. But at the same time, these are the same people that helped raise this person, or raise me in who I am. And not all the time is your family perfect, right? But at the same time, I love that so much. I love the family gatherings. I love the hangouts. And I wouldn't want anybody to stop me from doing that. You see, when it's time for me to go to Trinidad and jump up and wear a little two piece, I don't want my husband to be like, oh no, what is that? I don't want you to
yeah,
go out
yeah.
there. No, because he
Come,
doesn't
make we go
understand.
right now.
He doesn't understand the culture. He doesn't understand carnival. He doesn't
Let me
understand
go.
none
Let
of
me
that.
go. Let me go.
See? But he does. So he encourages all of that.
So, yeah, it's just like you said, yo. You trying to, let's make our own family. That means that you didn't like, and there's nothing wrong with not liking certain things of how you grew up.
Yes.
Right? There's nothing wrong with it. Right? Apart from, if you didn't like it, then change it.
Mm-hmm.
Change it with you. Everybody get a chance at this life.
Yep.
Right? Meaning that when you was part of that, you've always been part of a family. Right? When you grew up, you had your mom and your dad. Some people have single parents, but you still had that family, right?
Yeah.
So if you did not like that, when you have your own, now you have a chance to create what you've always wanted.
Correct.
But some people, they stay into that same thing and then blame it on, well, that's how I grew up. That's all I know. Well, what you knew you didn't like. So if you know you didn't like it, why create the same thing for your child to hate it as well? and then they're not going to want to do the same thing. But if you create something that you love, that probably your kid will end up loving as well, you now create something that your great grandkids can talk about and say, hey, grandpa, great grandpa started this with us, and it just kept
Yeah,
going.
but then what happens if you? But that's the thing, right? You could think things will continue to happen, right? But
It
cultural
doesn't.
differences. Your son meets
Correct.
somebody different,
Cor-
and
but that's the thing though. That's why we talk to our kids, right? We talk to our kids right now. My wife got them certain way, but
anyway,
but 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 that's why we have a conversation. It's like, just like how we have Grateful Sunday every Sunday, right?
yeah,
To now, we started that,
yeah,
but now the whole family, and I say the whole
yeah, because
family,
both
take parts
sides
of it and
of our
love it,
family
right?
have
Take
been
parts
part
of
of
it
that.
and love it. And we do something called Grateful Sunday, which we give thanks. We go around the table, Giovanni, Armani, all of us sit down and say what we're grateful for, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
talk about everything that we're grateful for, and then we hand it off to somebody else. Every Sunday morning after breakfast, we say that.
And
No,
anybody that comes to visit has to
have to
partake.
partake. So if you're at our house on a Sunday and we're having
Be
breakfast,
ready.
be ready, because you have to do it. I don't care if you say, "Oh, I don't like to," you're going to talk. Just period. You're going to talk. You have to say at least one thing you're grateful for. But the thing is, in the midst of it, it's like you're going to love it, because when you talk about what you're grateful for, it's like it feels so good,
Yeah.
right? Now you're forgetting of all the nonsense and all the troubles and all that stuff for just a moment, right? And
Mm-hmm.
give thanks about what you're grateful for. So these are some things that we say we teach our kids,
Yeah.
and we sit down and talk to them and say, listen, I want, and it's not I want, we say, yo, you better, right? That's the difference with us. We say you better make sure that you do the same thing with your kids when
Yeah.
they're growing up, and continue this Grateful Sunday. Why we say that? Because we know they love it, and we know what it does as far as family and bringing
Correct.
family
And we
together.
know how it started. So as my kids grow up, I want to be able to come and sit at their dinner table on a Sunday. I mean, breakfast table on a Sunday, and we do Grateful
Yep.
Sunday. But if he has a wife and she was like, "Oh, I don't like that. I'm not doing that." All right, we already have a mama, and
Well, she wouldn't be wife to begin with, because that
exactly,
would
because that's a
that
big thing
that,
in their life.
correct. So that's what I'm saying. It's like if you have certain things already set up.
But you can't say that, right?
No,
Because
it would.
we have to, your kid has to make that decision to know, like, this is, you might say no, right? Listen.
Unless me dead and gone,
No, he
right?
got to bring out that Jamaican accent for y'all. That's to
Unless
tell you
me
how serious he is.
unless me dead and gone, when he meet this person, they're gonna do Grateful Sunday,
Correct.
right?
But if they choose not to,
That means our kids already know it's not for them. Those, if you can't sit down and talk about what you're grateful for, what's the sense of being with someone like that?
yeah, I agree.
And that's how we raise it. That's how we raise our kids right now. It's like we raise them to be certain type of man, right? To be caring, to be respectful, but also to give thanks, right?
Speaking facts, Jeffrey
So
said.
so when it comes down to it, it's like if they already have that culture built into them, like, yo, I already teach my kids, yo, there's plenty of women out there. Not all of them are for you. It's just one of them out there is for you.
Yeah.
Once you find that right one, then you're good, right? There's no sense of trying to say, oh, this girl don't like Grateful Sunday, but I really like her, mom. She's pretty. Yo, I can send 10 more picture a pretty girl for you. Me ain't got them all. Me ain't go somewhere. Me find a pretty girl for you.
Mm-hmm. No, seriously.
So
It's just about, the thing is love enough in a relationship? Can you make it 20, 30 years with some huge cultural differences like we spoke about, like religion, two different religions, raising kids, the type of food, the family? How far can you really go with just love? And do you truly love that person if you can't accept them, their family, their food? Can you?
Candid.
That's what it comes down to. I want everybody to chime in today in the comments. And if you're watching the replay, let us know that you're watching a replay and let us know, is love enough? And are you dealing with cultural differences and how are you handling it? How are you raising your kids? How are you dealing? And are these even questions that you even ask yourself? Because some of you guys that are watching this podcast aren't married yet. Some people are engaged. And did you guys have these serious conversations? Because it's needed. We need to start having these conversations up front before we start saying I do.
Before we start
We
seeing
don't need the divorce rates continuing to skyrocket. I think we're doing better nowadays because we're starting to talk a little bit more. So that's why we come on here and we do these podcasts, because we want to encourage people to stay together, to make things work. But the only way to do that is to find the right one that you could rock with for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, right? So hopefully I found the right one.
hopefully.
Hopefully. So
Eh,
far, we're going deep. So far. One day at a time, guys. Just put your foot in one day at a time.
One day at a time.
Well, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for chiming in to Impactful Living Podcast. Like we said, leave your comment below.
All right, guys. See you on the next one.
All right, guys. Bye.